Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. So, the Fed and these inflation rates have shattered my expectations for a pump this summer, and I'm maybe adjusting it for later in the fall, possibly in the winter of 2023. So we're going to talk about my updated projections for Bitcoin. This is not financial advice. This obviously is just my opinion and market predictions, just like how Kramer predicts things and basically chooses his winners. I'm not going to choose winners. I'm just going to talk about Bitcoin and market projections. But here we go. So the personal expenditure inflation rates were red hot. I think they were like 0.2 or 0.3 above expected. And that's going to have the Fed looking very hawkish. Now, the guy that runs the St. Louis Fed thinks that they should raise 50 basis points. And a lot of the other analysts say they're still going to raise 25 basis points next time, which is the one I favor, but they're going to do it over the next three sessions. So that means 25 in March, 25 in May, and 25 in June. And then July and August, they may start to pause. I originally thought they were going to raise 25 in March and then pause in May and getting into June as well. But the inflation news probably dashed all my hopes. And then the labor market is still strong. Stop hiring people, companies. Stop hiring people. Stop giving people jobs. We need the economy to go down so the market will actually relent. Actually, no, it's fine to hire people because people actually do need jobs and people do need to be able to eat and stuff. So it's good that you're hiring. But the thing is, the labor market actually being strong does hurt our prospects for crypto, because even though the economy is strong, that means inflation is going to continue to come up. See, people need to learn how to save money in the United States, but they like to spend tomorrow's money. They buy Bugattis and Lambos, even though they can only really afford Ford Tauruses or Toyota Corollas. That's the American way of doing things. And unfortunately, the American way of doing things does not bode well for interest rates actually coming down. Because for interest rates to come down, people actually need to save and not spend more than they have. Because if you spend more than they have, obviously companies sell more stuff, profits go up, and then inflation goes up. As long as companies are able to gouge people for profits, they're going to keep pricing things higher and higher. You need to stop buying their garbage so they can't sell it, and then that will force them to actually make prices lower. That's how this works. If they can sell their garbage, they will charge any price they can get. If they can't sell their crap, then they have to lower prices to where you will actually buy that crap. See, that's how this supply and demand thing works. I don't think some people understand this. They're like, oh, I can take out a loan to buy, a Mercedes 4 Series Ultra. But no, you don't want to do that because you don't want to max out your credit card at really high interest rates. That's just plain dumb. You should rather buy the Pinto, basically the used Pinto for $5,000 and then drive it until prices come down, or just drive it permanently, because a used Pinto is still a car and it can get you from point A to point B. And yes, while you might like impressing some people with a Mercedes, it won't look very impressive when your net worth is negative $10,000, negative $100,000 in the hole. See, you got to think about these consequences, but Americans are not very good about thinking about consequences, unfortunately, and they just like to buy stuff that's way, way beyond their means, and that is fueling this non-economic downturn. See, if we had an economic downturn, the Fed would have reversed interest rates by now, but since we don't, they're going to keep raising into the summer, and that's why I'm changing my projections. I thought we might moon in June or July. I think it's more like September, October now, and maybe even into the winter. And that just ties us in right into the halvening. And then maybe we won't really get that dip before the halvening, but we'll stay low at $25,000 or $30,000 until maybe about September, October, then slowly start to creep up. Or maybe just go up to 35, dump down to 30, and then slowly start to creep up during the winter. And then after the halving next year, will really start to go up a little further as inflation kind of adjusts back to normal. And the Fed, by then, I think the interest rates will be low, and the inflation rate will be low enough for them to not raise interest rates and maybe even come down. My guess is they're really not going to start taking down interest rates until next year at this point. Not at the end of this year, next year. They're going to raise it until mid-year, then they're going to let it sit for 6 months to see what happens, and then they're going to bring it down. So that means a true Bitcoin up, we might be stuck in the 20,000s or 30,000s range for all of this year, which by the way would suck and will suck, but At the same time, you're still not losing more money than you have now. So if you want to wait for like $20,000 to buy, fine. But I still think DCA right now is probably the best option because you don't really want to miss the opportunity in case Bitcoin doesn't go up, Bitcoin doesn't go down. As you're seeing right now, every time this Fed news hits and the stock market really dumps, Bitcoin does dump, but it slowly comes back up if there's not any news. That means generally the sentiment is still fairly positive and people are just waiting to get in, waiting for better economic data. And the thing is, like, Americans still have money, so some people are still going to be buying this stuff. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.